Hi guys, so welcome back to a new video. In today's video, I will be talking about a gold farm that you can currently do, and with this gold farm, you will be able to make millions of gold. So just before I start, a quick disclaimer, this gold farm is mainly based on RNG, and so it means that sadly sometimes, if you're not lucky, you will be farming maybe for 10 hours without getting one single item worth your time, but also sometimes in 1 hour, you will be able to get multiple of these different items and make millions of gold. So just keep that in mind, it's all based on luck, and so it's up to you to see if you want to invest your time in this farm or not. So with today's gold farm, we're after all the new raid BOEs from the new raid, and here as you can see, these different BOEs can be with an eye level of 616, which is really good, and some of them are already selling for millions of gold. So these different BOEs are going to be really good for the next few weeks because even though the mythic part of the raid will be available at some point, the different BOEs that will drop from the raid will be binds when picked up, and so you won't be able to actually sell them on the auction house. After maybe 1 or 2 months, you should be able to then get them in a BOE version, but for now, it means that for the next few weeks, you will only be able to farm these different BOEs in heroic difficulty and to sell them on the auction house. And so these different BOEs are going to remain very interesting for at least a little bit of time. Here, as you can see, you have all these different ones right here. You also have the ring, and the ring is by far probably one of the most interesting one, simply because this is something that anyone can use. So all you have to do really in order to get some of these BOEs is to go inside of the raid and kill as many mobs as possible. So here, if you have a pretty good eye level, and here most of the time people will require you to have between 580 to 590 or more eye level. And then you just want to go in premade groups in raids the war within, and here you want to type BOE, and like that you will find some of these different groups that will be available. So normally, in order to farm these different BOEs, you will need to have at least the first boss down, because this is after that that you will have access to the most mobs. But again, it depends. Some groups are doing it after with even more bosses down. So it's really up to the group you're finding to see a little bit how you want to do this farm. All you have to do really is to find a group that is farming the different BOEs, and then you want to find a space, go inside, and kill as many mobs and really pray in order to get some of these different BOEs. And here I also want to insist on the fact that some of these different BOEs will sometimes, for instance, have some sockets or additional stats. And so for these ones, you should definitely make sure to sell them at a higher value, because again, it adds a lot of the value of the item. So just something for you to remember, because I know that sometimes people don't really realize that the item they got is even more valuable than what's already on the auction house. So just make sure to check that when you get one of these different BOEs. And if you have an interesting stat or one of these extra sockets, make sure to sell it for a little bit more gold. Now, in terms of how you should sell these different items once you've been lucky enough to get some, I would say that trying to sell these different BOEs on low pop realms is going to be pretty challenging. And also, sadly, the more you wait, the less valuable these different items are going to be. So what I would recommend you personally is to use your warband bank, and then when you get some of these different BOEs, you want to put your different BOEs inside of the bank, and you simply want to choose a hyper realm. Especially, for instance, here I'm playing on Kazakh. These are the type of realms where there's a lot of people doing PvE and who will engage in Mythic raiding, Mythic Plus. And so these people will definitely be interested in actually buying these different BOEs from the auction house for a lot of gold. And so really just target the different realms where you know there's a lot of players, where you know there's a lot of people interested in them, and try to sell them there, because most of the time you will be able to sell them for a better price and also faster. And then you can simply take the gold, put it back in your Warden bank, and then transfer back this gold on any of your other characters, including on your main realm if it's a low pop realm, for instance. Also here, I would recommend you to use the website, the Undermine Exchange, because you can basically know where exactly these different items are being sold in your region and for how much. So for instance, with this ring, as you can see right now, it's only being sold on these different realms, and these are the different values. So for instance, if you were planning to sell it on Kazakh, you can see that while the value is good, there's already 5 available, so it might not be the best choice. then you can go there and try to find some other hyper realms in your region and maybe consider selling them here because there's no competition yet. So like that, you will be able to really, each time you get some of these BOEs, go see a little bit where might be one of the best realms to sell the item on. And this is something that I really think will be useful for you to make the most gold out of these different BOEs. Now, of course, there is another way to make some gold with these different items without having to farm any of them, and it's simply by flipping them. So these different items are always a little bit risky, but sometimes you can really make millions and millions of gold by flipping them, simply because some people might not really realize the value of these different items and might, for instance, just want to do the raid and get lucky, get one of these BOEs and throw it on the auction house for maybe 500,000 gold, something like that, when in reality it's worth millions of gold. So what you want to do is for all these different BOEs, you want to go again on this website and you want to monitor them. So it means that if you have the time, you can go check from time to time if there are any interesting opportunities. And depending on how much gold you have and how certain or not you are that this is a good investment. Again, with these different BOEs, it's very, very difficult to assess whether this is a high risk or not investment. But depending on all of that, you can then check a little bit on the different realms, see if there is a good auction, and then buy it and resell it on another realm where maybe the value is way, way better. So this is something that I will personally try to do. Again, I would really recommend you to only do it if you have a lot of gold already, and especially if you understand pretty well the market, because again, these are not easy things to flip. And these can sadly cause you to lose a lot of gold because these are very expensive items. So it's really up to you to see how you want to proceed. But again, sometimes you can make millions of gold just by flipping these items and without having to farm anything yourself. Also, if you're wondering why exactly people would spend that much gold on some of these BOEs, remember that with these different BOEs, players will be able to actually convert them into tier PCs, tier set PCs. So with the catalyst, you will be able, for instance, to buy this helm right here and then to convert it for one of your tier set piece. And this is something that will be extremely useful for a lot of people. And so for that reason, trust me, these different items are really, really worth farming and especially really valuable. So that's pretty much it for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed. I will be back very soon with more guides and more videos. And in the meantime, I wish you all a great day. Bye.